Hello, yeah, so I don't know if I want to be a full-time artist anymore, and this is why I'm starting this channel, and this is why I am making this video. It's going to be a series of videos from today onwards, exploring where I'm at, you know, authentically, and I hope to be able to connect with other people who feel the same way, because I currently am feeling very unsure as to whether I want to pursue this career as a full-time visual artist. You know, a lot of things have happened over the last 6 months which have left me feeling incredibly uneasy about the idea of trying to monetize and sell my paintings to make a living. That's the truth. And I know that it's a struggle that all creative people have to face at some point, you know, whether you're a musician and you have to play other people's songs, you know, at a pub or a club or a bar to make a living, or whether you're a painter and you have to do paintings for other people to make a living, or whether you're, you know, a writer and you have to turn your hand to something that you don't particularly want to do to make a living. It's a really important question, and I'm right at this stage now, which is why I'm making the video, of like wondering, really, do I want to be doing this? You know, the truth is, I don't think I fully understood how difficult it would be to make money from selling my art. Especially selling the art that I really want to make, because for me, and I know for a lot of other painters, we have our like more commercial kind of work, and then we have the deeply satisfying work that we make for nobody other than ourselves. And finding the balance between those two things is really, really hard. A lot of people over the years have warned me about how hard it is, but I don't think you can ever really appreciate how hard it is until you try yourself, and until you just give it a go and see. And the last 3 years I've been giving it a go and trying to see if it's going to be viable or not. There have been ups and downs, you know, and I've always kind of fallen out of love for a little bit and then fallen back into love with painting, oil painting mostly, you know, and it's really hard to think these things through, which is another reason I'm making these videos, because it will hopefully give me, as well as other people, some clarity on this situation. And really, more than anything, I do genuinely hope to connect with people and hear from other people, because community is massive for me on my own journey, and it becomes increasingly important the further down like my own path that I get. You know, I realise that nothing can be done in true isolation, at least not in my experience, you know, and I definitely want to meet other like-minded people along the way. You know, I've always had a great love of painting, of drawing, of observing nature and, you know, translating it into works of art. And I think there is something really profound and beautiful about that process. It's a way of living that I wouldn't change. I really wouldn't change, you know, it's very much a part of me. Why it's a part of me, I don't know, but it always has been, and I think it always will be. But over the last few years of trying to change it from a passion project to a business project has really, you know, it's really tested me multiple times, you know, and I know that that's the case for other people on this journey as well. So I hope you can get some identification from this message, you know, and really, I guess what changed is, so at the beginning of this year, I decided to put my energy into a new exhibition project, a solo show at a museum, a music showroom, not a museum, I don't know why I said that, at a music showroom, a piano showroom. And you know, the logic behind it was that they have some beautiful instruments in this showroom, and I thought that the paintings would sit really well in there, and the truth is they did. You know, they looked very, very nice in there. But the bigger truth and the bigger picture is that for the 6 months I was making those, I was making artwork for something else. It wasn't really for me, and it's left me feeling very deflated. That's the truth. It went very well. So, you know, everyone said it was a great success. We made a documentary about it, got lots of lovely pictures, and I did an artist talk at the event. You know, there was over 100 people through the door on the opening night, which is really hard to do for an art exhibition, in my experience. You know, I am a professional artist, and I've presented myself that way now, and I've proved to myself that I can do it, you know. And I think they say, like, you know, 1 in 1,000 people who does an art degree will go on, you know, to have a solo show, a decent level of solo show. And then of those people, only 1 of those 1,000 will go on to be a full-time working professional artist. And I suppose I'm very much in that category now, and still figuring things out. And there's a massive difference, isn't there, between creating for joy versus creating for survival. I think it's a really important distinction to make. And as soon as survival comes into the mix, which is where we've come from, you know, we've come from survival, if you think about our own grand time scale, coming from that place of survival now into a world which is fairly luxurious. Let's be honest, I live in England, in the north of England, and, you know, I have everything that I need. But the issue with trying to sell my paintings for money, you know, it brings me back into that survival mode, and necessarily because I'm trying to survive, which is make money through my paintings, it makes me change what I make, you know, and I'm really not sure if I want to do that. You know, I had a great joy of creating all through my life, and I feel like I've lost it a little bit over the last 6 to 12 months because I have been so hyper focused on, you know, being a professional artist. And this is the truth, you know, it's emotionally exhausting, that's true. This like hustle culture versus soul culture is a really interesting dynamic. You know, I've done a lot of jobs over the years, a lot of them very physical, you know, physically demanding jobs outside, whether it's labouring, landscaping, working on fishing boats, vineyards, fruit picking, manual labour, all that kind of stuff. And then I've done a lot of hospitality jobs, gallery jobs, bars, restaurants, cafes. Yeah, and self-employed artist is by far the most emotionally exhausting job that I've ever done. Because it is me, it's me in its entirety, and you know, the top and bottom of it is painting and decorating, for example. I've done landscaping, I've done, you know, these jobs are, you're never short of work, you're always going to be in money as long as you're doing a good job. But with being an artist, it's just not the case. You know, you can be doing a really great job, and I've got a lovely studio here, which I'm extremely grateful for. It has the wow factor. Anyone that comes into it just loves it. But it's, you know, still really hard to make money as an artist doing what you want to do. You know, you've got to do other stuff as well. So yeah, this is where I'm at. And I think this is a really crucial moment for me now, which is why I'm starting to make these videos, because I'm trying to pivot again and change and think of other ways to connect with people and other ways to, you know, keep moving forwards and being authentic to myself. The place where I'm at now is I feel like I've spent the last 3 years investing my energy into this kind of like idea of hustle culture and working really hard, you know, and foot on the gas like 24/7. And now I'm really feeling like I have to just take a step back, relax, breathe, recalibrate, be, you know, and try and appreciate what I have and think about where I want to go next. And currently I'm at the stage where I don't think I want to continue trying to monetize my art because it's getting too painful to do so. And I know it is for a lot of my friends as well who are artists. You know, there's people I know who are very successful commercially, but they feel trapped because they're known for a certain style now, and they can't really deviate from that style too much. And then there are other people who spend most of their working weeks doing workshops, creative workshops around the area and further afield. And then, you know, they come to the studio in their free time, you know, away from work, and they just make whatever they want to do. And they paint however they want to paint, and they're fully connected with that creative side of themselves, and that seems more appealing to me now. So, yeah, that's the end of this first ramble. I really hope to connect with other people who are feeling this way. And over the next few weeks, I'm going to be talking about art and business. I'm going to be talking about mental health, addiction and recovery. I'm going to be talking about spirituality and finding a sense of spirituality. You know, and I'm also really interested in health and wellness. And so, if anyone has got anything from that, leave a comment, please. Give it a share, you know, connect with me, because I really genuinely do want to connect with other people who are at the same place as me. I also want to connect with people who are at the place I was a few years ago. You know, part of this journey now is for me trying to help others who are perhaps 1 or 2 steps behind where I'm currently at. And that's not speaking from a place of, you know, superiority. It's just speaking from a place of, well, I don't know. I've been at it for 3 years and I'm at this point now, and clearly there are people who are just starting. So, you know, I wish I'd had somebody to help me back in the day. So, yeah, I guess that's kind of where I'm at. That's it for now. Thank you.